back, guys. It's Mr. Lastly here for episode 2 of our at-home science. Now, yesterday it sounded like it was a great success. Today we are going to be talking about pressure, and you have to have mom and dad for the science experiment if you guys are going to try it at home. The other things that you will need is a hard-boiled egg and a container that is tight around the egg at the top. So I can't physically put this egg inside of my jar without breaking the egg and forcing it in. So today we're going to talk about pressure and how we can use it to get the egg inside of our jar with mom and dad's help. So the other thing that we're going to need is a lighter that works if you are using lighters. Also, you can use some matches. Matches actually work best. So I actually didn't have matches, so I'm going to use a lighter and a couple of pieces of just scratch paper that I have here at home. And we are going to be lighting the paper on fire. So probably not the best science experiment to do inside. If you do it inside, make sure that you have the windows open. Hopefully tomorrow it's not too cloudy or snowy outside or rainy. So the first thing that we need to do before we light anything on fire is I have my trash can here. It has a little bit of goop on it from yesterday, and we're going to crack the egg. This is where the students' part is you guys have the job of cracking the egg and making a mess inside of the trash can. So make sure that we peel it right over top of the trash can and we put our shell inside of the trash can. Now, here is a great place to stop your video if you aren't trying this video at home. So, go ahead, here's your chance. Pause it, make a prediction of how we are going to get our egg inside of our jar without forcing it and breaking it to go in. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for making those predictions. Now we're just going to set our egg on top of the jar for right now, and I want to come back and talk about pressure. Now pressure is a force. Okay, so I can push something as a force, or something can push on me, right? Now this force that we're talking about today is a force that normally we don't see it. And it's a force that happens every single day. So here is Mr. Lastly, and I'm just going to draw a quick stick figure, and we need to give him a mouth and nose and maybe a little hair. So the biggest thing that I want you guys to take away is that on Earth, so let's draw our Earth down here, okay? On Earth, there's this thing called gravity. And gravity is a force that has pressure. Gravity is always pushing on us in all directions. We can't usually see it unless it is at NASA and you guys are at the Space Center and there's some magic experiment that helps to show you guys that gravity is pushing on us to keep us on the Earth. If there was no gravity and no pressure to push us down onto the Earth, then we would float away like we were in outer space. Ooh, just kidding, because I'm on Earth. So, we are going to be showing how pressure and gravity work using our hard-boiled egg that you guys peeled earlier and our jar. So, our hard-boiled egg, our next step is to take it off of our jar, and we're just going to set it aside. Now, this is where it gets kind of tricky. So mom and dad, here's your chance to shine. If you guys are trying this at home, we are going to light our piece of paper on fire, and we're going to make sure that it's burning nice and hot. Now, when we drop it into the jar, we are going to put the egg on top, and I want you guys to see what happens. So I'm going to angle this down just a little bit. I need my piece of paper back. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. Watch really close. Lighting it on fire. It's getting a little warm on my fingers, making sure that it's burning nice and hot. Make sure that you're in a safe place where the smoke isn't going to set off any fire or smoke detectors. Make sure that you have some water nearby. We're going to make sure that this gets nice and hot. And it's got a good flame on it. I'm going to get my hard-boiled egg. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. In goes our paper. In goes our egg. Oh! Holy moly! So the egg did something here, and I want you guys to pause your video, and I want you guys to make a prediction. What happened to our egg and why? Thank you guys for making that prediction. Now, to wrap up our science lesson from today, we still got a little bit of smoke going on, but our egg went in because around the top of my jar, it created a suction, okay? Right now, there's no smoke coming out because I have my hand on top, but I can actually feel it right now because there's still a little bit of heat that is pulling my hand down onto the surface of the jar. Fire needs 3 things. It needs oxygen, it needs some sort of food, whether it's our piece of paper or sticks or whatever it's burning, and it needs ignition. So we created the ignition with our lighter, right? Then we gave it food by giving it that piece of paper to burn on, and then it had to have oxygen to burn. Now, when it ran out of oxygen, because it didn't have any more, because the egg was on top, around the top of our jar, and it created that suction, it pulled the egg down into the jar because the fire wanted more oxygen. Just like how gravity works, I'm going to put these on top of my head now. I might look a little goofy, but just like gravity works, there's always this pressure and a force pushing onto us. Now, our force was actually pulling down into the jar right here. But I want you to predict, how could we get our egg out? Because there is a way to get that egg out of our jar. Now, if you use paper, this part might get a little gross and disgusting, but what's your prediction? How could we get our egg out of that jar? Come back after you've made that prediction. To wrap it all up, safety glasses back on. Whew. I need to create pressure going into the jar now. In our first part of our experiment, we had pressure that was created from inside of the jar. Now, to get our egg out of the jar, we have to create pressure going into the jar. So, we're going to get our egg kind of situated so it's going up and down the same way that it went in. Now, there is some paper that has burned in there, but I promise it, unless you swallow it, it won't hurt you. So if you get some in your mouth, just make sure you spit it out in the trash can that you have for your science experiment today. So I am going to, are you ready? I'm going to create pressure going into the jar this time. Now, because the pressure that went into the jar had nowhere else to go other than around the egg, now my egg is starting to come out of the jar. And with a little encouragement, I might have to do it again. Let's push it back in. Let's watch it real close again. I have to blow really hard, so mom and dad might have to help you guys out. Make sure that this part where you're putting your mouth is nice and clean. Make sure that only one person is putting their mouth on the jar. So here we go. I was running out of air. That's why I had to stop. So our egg will, with enough pressure, come back out. Have a great rest of your day. Remember, if you're trying this experiment at home, make sure you have who? That's right, mom and dad. Otherwise, please just add your response by doing our predictions. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your day.